I'm Corbett Wall with USDA Livestock and Grain Market News, here with your weekly feeder and stocker cattle market summary for the week ending August the 9th, where you had feeder steers and heifers once again steady to $3 higher, and they just continue on this summer-long rally that they've had since before Memorial Weekend there. Calves selling unevenly $2 to $10 higher, with instances in several places as much as $15 higher, especially on those steer and bull calves, those light little calves weighing under 450 pounds, where most of your orders are coming from. But routinely now, these shippers from the southeast, order buyers in the little sale barns down there all across the south, are paying over $2 a pound routinely for those 2 and 3 weight steer and bull calves. But the yearling deal, we thought maybe it was starting to plane out a little bit, and then some activities this week caused things to spur up once again, and by late week, your yearling demand was just as hot as it has been for the last 2 or 3 weeks. At the Huss Platte Valley auction in Kearney, Nebraska, there on Wednesday, they had over 600 head of top quality steers weighing from 9 to 9.5. Average 926 pounds at 152.23, and a lot of those yearlings will be going to farmer feeders, some of them going all the way back to Iowa from Kearney there. On Friday, right before we record here on Friday, at the Burwell Barbecue Special there in Nebraska, they were having some high prices on yearling heifers. Had a string of 911 pound spayed yearling heifers bring 145.60, and that's probably the highest big heifers that we've heard of in a long time. Could be an all-time high there. But the CME saw some significant gains there at the middle of the week, and a lot of it coming from all the media attention, showing that some of these packers are starting to shy away from some of these beta agonist feed additives that have really gotten popular here in the last few years. And this is significant because those beta agonist feed additives, which is additives that you give to those fed cattle during the last phase of their feeding period there, and it really promotes weight gain where you normally see inefficiencies late in that feeding period, and more so really increases the dressing percentage, the difference between the carcass weight and the live weight. And if we were to see a dramatic drop-off in use of these products, it's definitely going to bring about a change in your net beef tonnage. So it's significant, and right now we're moving into some pretty good numbers of market-ready cattle, but when we get towards the end of this year and into next year, we see that drop off quite a bit. So if we start to see our tonnage go down between now and then, it could significantly help the market. And we did see a lot of speculators jump on that news and kind of spike your CME live cattle contracts this week. But gains, we know our cost of gains are going to be cheaper because these corn is starting to get cheaper. They're starting to harvest some of that corn down in Louisiana and places like that. Their yields are going to be a lot higher than they normally have, and so we're going to see better yields for this year's crop long before we ever get into the corn belt. But no gains are cheaper than what we're starting to see on these pastures that are starting to grow back in your late summer. We're going to have late summer and fall grazing that we don't normally have all across your south central and southeastern parts of the United States. Big rains falling, and from Colorado, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, going across to Arkansas and on all throughout your southeast there. Flooding, big flooding problems, deadly floods falling in your 4-state area where Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, and Oklahoma all come together. You go within 100 or 200 miles radius of that, and some significant flooding problems right there. Fed cattle market, they stood off and held out a long time this week until late Friday here, starting to get some trade break loose in the south central Texas and Kansas feed yards, $2 higher at 121, and in Nebraska on a dress basis at 197, which is $2 to $3 higher. Regional weighted averages this week in the north central states on lighter receipts and fewer auctions in the Nebraska and the Dakotas that really bring those higher prices, so our averages didn't come out quite as high. But this week an 8 to 900 pound steer cost you $148.71 compared to $154.86 last week and $136.85 a year ago. Down the south central states, a 7 to 800 pound steer cost you $153.08 compared to $150.156 last week and $137.22 a year ago. Down in the southeast, a 4 to 500 pound steer on order, $164.22 compared to $159.23 last week and $146.72 a year ago. That wraps up your feeder cattle market summary for this week. Check out our website for more market information at marketnews.usda.gov. And from the Regional Market News Office in St. Joe, Missouri, we'll talk to you next week.